On my last video, I was asked by a lot of people about getting into business, top 10 digital businesses, how people make money from blogs, etc. etc. Been asked that because I've been in business 20 years. Some of you will know my other YouTube channel. And all the time whilst I worked at DWP, I still have my businesses going because I set them all up digitally so that they run pretty much without me. This I had to do following my car crash, where I used to have a language training company. Now my company is completely in online business coaching, predominantly working with people with health conditions. My business also creates software, digital assets, and sometimes we even ghostwrite programs, books, courses for people so they can actually start their own business. Now, on the internet, there is an awful lot about starting a business when you're young. There's not much for people midlife. So hopefully, if you're a midlifer, this one is going to be a video that's going to help you, as well as perhaps if you've got health conditions and you've been thinking, oh, could I start a business? Could I not start a business if I wanted to? What sort of business could I start? Etc, etc. And like all good things, I will save the best till last. But let's start with content creation. YouTube, guys. Start with YouTube. I absolutely freaking love YouTube. And I'll tell you why. I have been on all of the other platforms for many, many years, and some of them are a little bit relentless in the way they change their policies, like TikTok for one. I love TikTok, and as you know, with the Justice Journals, there's nearly 130,000 followers. We have a really big audience on TikTok. I particularly do love my audience on the Justice Journals on TikTok, but other accounts are really difficult to grow on TikTok. They're also always changing the game, and it's really difficult. YouTube is very authentic. People come on YouTube for all sorts of reasons. I honestly think every single person can create an entire business just using YouTube alone. Now, I personally love creating content. I like sharing my points of view. I like to educate. I like commenting on things that I find interesting. That's number one, really, why I started YouTube. But that's only part of my business, right? So I express myself as a creator on YouTube, and then through that people were asking me for all sorts of resources. That's why I started the Justice Journals website. That's why I started Off System. You might have a passion for air fryer cooking or pot gardening. You might be really good at this, by the way. You just like, and honestly, find your tribe. As corny as it sounds, you can make an entire business around that. Now, as well as potentially getting paid from the content, which is very unreliable, so I wouldn't rely on that, because sometimes it can be okay, sometimes it can be dire, and sometimes there's not really any reason why. But if you have your own products, or you do little brand deals or add sponsorship, you can still earn money from that. And this is where the element of passive income comes in, because people see your videos on YouTube. And if you're like promoting something like somebody else's product or even your own product, you can even promote Amazon products, right? Then you can earn money from that. If you really love it, you could even offer content creation as a business. I actually do have a membership called Contentpreneurs, and in there it's professional content creators, big creators as well on TikTok, as well as people starting their business and business owners who want to get really good at content creation so that they can market their business or monetize their assets online. So there is a whole business and an industry behind that. I've been using content like forever, since I've had my businesses. So I've pretty much mastered most platforms. And that's why I consider myself, as well as winning awards in it, I'm an authority in content creation and business. So I teach it and I help other people, do the same for themselves. You can literally make content about anything. So if you are lost for an idea, just think of what to do as a business. Content creation is a definite must. And if you're over 40, there is a lack of middle-aged content creators that brands absolutely love, because people in their middle ages, like you and me, we have more disposable income than the majority of us to spend. So brands love middle-aged people. They love middle-aged audiences. My second fave is digital education. I love digital education. I've created lots of books, courses. I've been an online publisher for years. As you all know, award-winning books, award-winning courses, all sorts of things. I help a lot of people start businesses, and you do not have to be like a lot of people think you have to be like insanely experienced and clever to do digital education. I want to tell you about one of my clients. One of my clients lived in inner city London. She was a single parent and she had 4 kids. And she found every single time it was a birthday and she wanted to do like a nice birthday cake, and obviously with 4 kids it comes around a lot, plus all the school fairs, there's Christmas cakes and all the rest of it, that it was so expensive. So she's obviously made the cakes, and as time went on she got better and better and better at it. Her actual business then came because she came to me and said, how can I make a business out of, how can I just make money from a business, an online business? Her business then became an online baking course. I think it was about 8 lessons for parents that had children that wanted to learn how to cook or make these, or bake I should say, these amazing elaborate cakes with all of the icing and the figures, things that would probably cost £100-200, right? She would show people how to do them for like 20 quid for their own families, or maybe if they wanted to sell them. And then she did recipe books, and then she did these things called cake toppers, which gets the kids involved, kids activities. Absolutely banging, booming business. She also did not have much of a capability for writing. So the videos, actual video learning, digital education was wonderful. She loved it. She was able to come completely off benefits, and she has a really good business now, right in the middle of London, where going to work was really hard, traveling was hard, getting the right type of childcare for her children was really hard. So that is a good example. Digital education can be so many things: courses, memberships, books, templates, toolkits. It can be so many things. It can be so many things. The next one, which is seeing a really big increase, are online communities or memberships. I have one. I have quite a few. I've got Contentpreneurs, I have Off System, I have my Business Bundle Besties group. And I have my sort of mastermind 365 plan clients who I coach for a year, and then afterwards I do weekly coaching with them. Why the memberships and communities are growing so much is because not everybody wants to do a course. They just want to be part of a community and a membership that share similar goals and interests as them, and they want to be part of something. Also, if you do have things like, if you are a digital educator, people quite often want more of you. That's why I developed Off System, because if I would personally charge, and I do charge quite a lot for one-to-one consultations, but I know lots of people in my audience can't afford that. So I do the membership, and I do lots of different digital assets, courses, toolkits, templates, masterclasses in my membership, and then I personally go live in my membership where my community can ask me things, talk to me, and it just serves themselves and a lot of other people. Plus it gives them that ongoing support. Memberships, I think, also don't take too much to get started, but you obviously do need to have some people interested in joining your membership or your community. And some of the biggest communities at the moment are people restarting their life after divorce. For example, on School, someone's a multi-millionaire from that. And again, there are loads. There's one on fly fishing, which is really popular as well, and another one on woodwork. So this is for woodworkers as a hobby. So like, you can have a membership on anything. The next one, because I have been asked about this, is blogging and how do you make money with blogs. First of all, I will say blogging is for it's a slow burn, okay? It's not something you can make amazing money out of straight away unless you have a big audience. So I learned how to blog really well because I used to be a resident blogger for an organisation that J.K. Rowling, so that's the author of Harry Potter, chaired in London. And I was so good at blogging, they asked me to be a resident blogger, which means I was, I did it every single week for them. So through that, I learned a lot about constructing the right type of blog, how you get found, because there are a lot of blogs online, millions, and most importantly, how you make money with them. Now, I personally own a lot of blogs that I've created, and one of my blogs I've been offered quite a lot of money for, but I don't want to sell it. I'm going to show you one of my blogs to show you how basic you can, these are brilliant as well for people that want to be faceless or want to do faceless, have a faceless business. So this is my little bay. This is called DigiTeach Online, and as you can see, this is all about digital business, digital education. There are my memberships on there. There are blogs. So when you click on these, it all goes through to a blog, or indeed should do. There we go. People have a little pop-up. And then people click through to this. I've got some digital products there. Again, digital education. People read the blog post. Now, as you can see here, I've got the user link in bio. So to answer the question, how do I make money with blogs? You can sell your own digital products. You can also be an affiliate. So I am an affiliate and an ambassador for Stan Store, which is like a creator store, which is what this is all about. And from here, people can read that. As you can see, it tells people all about what a Stan Store is, how you use it, la 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 la. And then as you go further down, you've got all of your other little blogs as well. Now, when I started that, I was writing lots of online English curriculums for a massive Beijing language company. So I had like a whole load of teachers that wanted me to show them how to start their business online. So it was initially all about just English, teaching English online, because that's what I used to teach, teaching English online and teaching French online. And then it sort of pivoted as I stopped doing so much of that and just went more into digital education, digital products and that sort of thing. Now, I only have about 100 blog posts on there, and considering I think that website is only 10 years old now, that blog, that's really not very much, and I do earn money from that. But I have friends and sort of people that I know in the industry that literally have complete faceless blogs like that are earning 6 figures from doing some of the things that I showed you. Now, I do teach inside or coach inside my coaching program exactly how you do that, because it's quite an intricate process that you have to do over time, but it's definitely possible. And if you're really passionate about a certain subject, it's really, I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy writing. And now with AI, you can actually get quite a lot of this stuff up faster, and you can use AI to do lots of your research work for you, which is great. Now, like any business, there is always a risk, which is why I always say to people, do a digital business first. Because when you're dealing with products, right, that you write, obviously my products, I create these and I have them printed, then I have them sent to me. I have ones on business as well, but I have to outlay for all of this. I have to pre-buy this stock. I have to buy all the packaging. I have to deal with all the logistics, or pay for it, all the logistics to be dealt with. There's a cost element to that. And there's also a cost element, if you sometimes, as I did a few months ago, back in sort of end of November, I think it was, I had like 1,000 health planners delivered, and some really stupid delivery man thought, I know, this is a really good idea to leave these outside in the pouring rain. So I had that nightmare to deal with. Now, sometimes, you can create a product and it might not be a bestseller, or it might not sell very well at all. And then you've still got to work out, how am I going to sell this? You could be left with stock that just won't sell. So that's why I always say to people, unless you've got money to burn, because in actual physical products, it does cost more as a business. There is more expense to lay out, and there is potentially more loss. Whereas with a digital business, you have your time, you have your website, and you have your marketing to focus on. And if you have a knowledge or a skill that you wanted to share with people, I prefer educational businesses as a sort rather than a physical product business, like, I don't know, selling beauty products or something. I would definitely prefer like digital. But if you're like, wow, I can't really think of anything and I don't really want to do a business around something like that, you can always sell a service. And it is insane the type of services that people will pay for. So one of my clients, if you've seen one of my websites like alisonmcrobbie.com, there is a review there from one of my clients called Angela. Angela came to me after being ripped off £3,500 for a website. So she had her business idea. She went to someone like on Fiverr. I think it was Fiverr. She paid £3,500 and she had basically a £60 website template that had just had her branding put on. It was really awful. So obviously I took her under my wing. She joined the 365 plan. I rebuilt all of her website for her. So my service to her, if you like, I was able to sell my expertise. I was able to show her what that person had done wrong, how she could improve it, and then I was actually able to do it for her because that's what she wanted me to do. When people say the website world is dead and blogging is dead, do not listen. In business, I always say this, always sell from your own website. Why do you think I don't have a TikTok shop, an Etsy shop, an Amazon shop? Always sell from your own website because it's owning your own piece of real estate on the internet, and that's important, and that has a value. The longer you keep your domain, like www, the more it goes up in money. So some of like what I call the serious pros are people I know that earn insane amounts of money from their websites. They don't want to go and buy a new website name. They want one that's already in use. So honestly, there is real estate value in the internet world in the things that you might not even think of. So AI content creation, I think you need to go easy on this because with the world of AI, what it's done is it's leveled the playing ground of access where lots of people are like, oh, now I'm a this and now I'm with that. But then unfortunately, the online world has become flooded with a whole load of really crappy, bad quality content, writing, books, whatever. People even use AI to write books, which I really wouldn't recommend you do because you can get strikeouts and all sorts of things for that. So I wouldn't do that. But services, so you could even offer a gardening service if you wanted to do something offline. You could do funnel building, you can do copywriting, you can give advice. One of my clients is was an offline therapist. She wanted to have more income online or start building up more of an online income because she was getting older and she didn't want to be doing so much hands-on therapy. And I said to her, there is a massive space in the women's health market for the menopause. I don't know anything about the menopause. And she was like, oh, do you not know? And I was like, no. And I could have listened to her for hours. So now she has an online community for women in the menopause. This is Jane Long, by the way, Jane Long Wellbeing. She has a whole load of different courses and things you can do. She does like glow ups, wedding packages, all sorts of things, but are online. So there's a really good example. You can literally take something which you wouldn't really have thought of, being a offline therapist and reflexologist. How can you monetize that online? Well, she's done so. The other advantage, I suppose, with a service is you don't have to build your own audience. You can just go to places like Fiverr and Upwork and places like that. However, with some things you will get driven down on price. If you have a good portfolio and you have a good reputation and you have good reviews, then obviously you can put your prices up, because I would rather pay more to have a job well done than something really cheap that I've then just got to spend time, redoing or editing. And when you work with business owners in particular, they are very much of that frame of mind. So that could be something you could consider. Now, with all of these things, all of these like 5 suggestions I've given you, you can start small and test it and see if you like it and if it works for you and if there's a market for it. And sometimes people that I've known have made insane amounts of money, really way more than what they wanted or even thought of, from a really simple idea. And not everybody needs to be a millionaire. I see this a lot, how to be a six-figure this, a six-figure that, but most people don't need that. Most people are looking for $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And if that's all you need, that's brilliant. It makes the whole prospect of online business like really easy, because £10,000 a month online is a really easy level to get to. And most people, even me, and lots of other people that have got lots of degrees, I would never get £10,000 a month if I went to work full time. I would never ever get that. But with my business, I can think, oh, how can I get to that? What do I need to do next? So it makes sense really to work for yourself rather than somebody else, I think. So how do you get started with all of this? Now, I know some of you in my comments have said, oh, I used to do this or I used to do that, and then have maybe not done it because you were doing it in a job. And that's why I say, well, don't do it as a business. You could, seriously, it could really help you. But if you don't know where to get started, I'm going to leave my bundle, which is the online business bundle, is incredibly good value for money. And it gives you everything from social media to branding to finding your own niche. I think I've got one of the books here. Finding your own niche here, which is a workbook where you literally go through every single section and work through it. And I do a monthly masterclass when people get this as well. And I teach this live. I do it once a month, where you can come along, you can ask questions, you can go through things in the bundle or in this book, and just basically brain blast with me. One thing I will say to anybody going into business, do not underestimate the value of these three things. Number one, terms and conditions. Number two is having business insurance. And number three is making sure you have your own website. Those are absolute non-negotiables. So hope that was helpful. I tried to do that as quickly as possible, but I've looked, it's like 21 minutes, but I tried to get it, do it really fast. Can you imagine if I'd done 10? We'd be into nearly 40 minutes. Anyway, let me know if it's giving you some ideas and what you think about maybe starting your own business.